Greetings everyone, my name is Eckerville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Mega Man Maker. In tonight's live stream, I'll be covering the first part of the level pack Mega Man Shedrel's Rising, a level pack designed by the eponymous Shedrel. This consists of one intro stage, 8 arm stages, 5 Fortess stages, and a special stage. In this episode, I'll be covering the intro and RM levels. So let's begin with this stage, the intro stage. 57 plays, score 26. Now, I played both this and the air stage, called, I believe, Cyclone Man, about 2 weeks ago. But for the sake of this level pack and video, I'll cover them again here. So welcome to stream Shedrel, Pixelboy, YouTube, Nuthouse, Jaden, and anyone else who I missed. Let's give this... One of the main defining features of this pack is that at the start of every stage, you can choose what music's going to be playing. No other level pack has done something like this. For most of this level pack, I'll be swapping between characters. And just in case the servers kick the bucket again, I downloaded all the levels to disk. I'll be evaluating these levels both individually and as a group, mostly the latter. If I could recall correctly, the intro stage is more of an actual stage than an introduction, really. Especially with all the spikes strewn around the place. It feels more like a second or third stage. Precisely, YouTube. Randomizers. Eventually I need to get back to them. I know I did a randomizer for Mega Man 4 and Mega Man X. They always make up for fun experiences. Although I tend to classify them as their own individual LPs. Yeah, they're down permanently. The wiki will come up, internal bug tracker, website, they're fine. Forums are gonna be down forever. They're being replaced with the subreddit. The game itself is thankfully intact. So here's our choice of RMs to go after. Blaze Man, Cyclone Man, Iceberg Man, Brick Man, Tsunami Man, Shining Man, Steel Man, Soldier Man, and that should be all of them. Pick who I should go after first. Hey Dakos. Hey Zakam. I'll give you about 30 more seconds. Okay, 10 seconds are up. We have a clear victor. Blaze Man it is. 62 plays, score 26. I estimate it's gonna take about an hour to 90 minutes to complete this part. Hey, patio. All the special weapons we can acquire to start. I'll do this as Mega. Hello? Is this broken? There we go. Hey, Hyper. Glad to see you on Twitch. Yeah, I got it back. I much prefer this team over regular Swordmans. In the future, YouTube, after I beat the base game. You're correct, Shedrel. Or Shedrel. Oh, there's a randomizer for that too? That's cool. As I said, I want to cover the base games for those first, then. The only reason why I skipped playing the base games for the Mega Man series is because that's this channel's bread and butter, whereas for those other series I barely covered games in them. Just one, the intro stage. You haven't missed much. I always find ages to be more puzzle-oriented, and seasons to be more action-oriented. It's nice, especially for replayability, but yeah. It is a minor quality of life feature, but if the original levels themselves aren't too good, then it won't really make up for it. Me. That was way too easy to get, to be honest. There shouldn't have been an M-tank there. Just putting tanks out there, it's kind of a pet peeve of mine, but putting tanks out there, especially the more valuable and powerful ones, just destroys the difficulty curve. It should be a bit of a challenge to actually get those things. Either be off the beaten path, or be more difficult. Or do both. And it should be balanced in the sense that E is easier to get than M. Like, that's just a freebie. They are a bonus, yes, but you want to actually make them a bit more... You want to make the amount of effort to actually get them be as balanced to how valuable they are. Eventually I'll get back to covering mods. Many places, YouTube. I guess that was fine. 7 left to go. I'll give you about a minute. Cyclone or Steel? We need a tiebreaker. Cyclone Man's next. 38 plays, score 15. And yes, along with the intro stage, I covered it 2 weeks ago. During a Saturday morning stream. Let's do this as roll. I noticed that E and M tanks don't carry over between stages, but I guess that's by design. As a reminder, tomorrow morning, TF2 multiplayer, Man vs. Machine. And tomorrow evening, Smelter. I'll be covering 2 levels there. It doesn't really sound like much, but that'll likely take over an hour to 90 minutes. Well, 2 or 3 levels. Vessel Caverns and Resista Station. And maybe, just maybe, if I have more time, enough time, I'll cover Stone Bastion. In a way, Smelter feels kind of like, well, it starts out pretty serious, reminding us of ActRaiser, but then, as Eve is falling into wherever she is, it just drops all pretenses of being totally serious. Stone Bastion, I have to do it next in order to fit the order. For the sake of the LP, the order I want to do is Earth, Water, Storm, Earth, Water, Electricity. And if I do Felsa Caverns and Resista Station next, by rotation that should be next. And then the next stream I'll cover the remaining 2 stages there. Then the stream after that, final boss. Well, in general, the team of Smelter is sillier compared to something like ActRaiser. ActRaiser, for the entirety of the experience, is no-nonsense serious, with basically no humor. Well, there is some humor, but it's barely existent. It's not like the other games in the Quintet trilogy. It's not like future games in the Quintet quadrilogy or trilogy. Those have more silly moments, or moments of levity. Smelter, on the other hand, sure does have serious moments, but most of the time it feels kind of silly. Why did we suddenly speed up after taking damage? Yeah, it reminds me of Tengu Man, and it was deliberate. Discord server? Twitter? I mean, how many of you actually got updates for Mega Man Maker from the forums, really? I never really learned about the updates from the forums. It's always been from Twitter, Discord, or YouTube. Yakuza, that's actually a good example. Although, I can't really make a direct comparison because I never played any of the Like a Dragon series. So based off of my cursory glance from that series, Smelter is a bit sillier and doesn't take itself as much seriously, even its main storyline, because Yakuza's main storyline is actually fairly serious, mostly no nonsense. It's merely the side activities which aren't. But for Smelter, even the main storyline is silly-ish. But I like those moments of levity. After all, although balance-wise, Yakuza probably has the better balance. After all, the real world is not no nonsense. Eventually, I will start with Kiwami 0. Just for the sake of breaking the tie and so we can move forwards faster, I'm gonna go after Soldier Man next, with 35 plays and a score of 13. Not much. An enter stage and 2 arm stages. Right now this pack is... Base time. Grab all the treble boosts too. Oh, 0. My apologies. There's a Kiwami 1 and 2, is that correct? Kiwami 1 and 2, then back to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Got it. So, timeline-wise, it's 0, Kiwami 1 and 2, then 3 through 7. $18 plus? Well, that seems kind of silly to me. I'll have to double check that. Extreme bad luck? That reminds me more of China, but... and the ever-developing world. See, another way I've seen the Yakuza games be described as, it's cozy. After playing through over 4,000 levels in Mega Man Maker, you start to see repeated patterns all over the place. Different culture as Pixel Boy. But yeah, to me, that's excessive. Yeah, let's move on to something else. See, I'm of the opinion that I understand. I don't really hold those things the same. I hold those two things differently. But if you really just want to do it, just add warnings. Yeah, that's another taboo. It does add to the game's distinctiveness though. Alright, who should I go after next? 45 seconds on the clock now. Iceberg time. Next up is Iceberg Man. 42 plays, score of 19. I mean, if I cut through the RM stages this quickly, I can just finish the rest of the pack tonight. And then, next Saturday evening we can have something else. Oops. I guess Proto? Just to make it hard on myself, I want to use this buster as much as possible. Yeah, definitely classic type. Compared to something like Jedok's level pack, which I played a few weeks ago, each of the levels there were 6 to 7 minutes long. Yikes. This feels like maybe not the complete opposite, but leaning towards the opposite. Hey, there can be multiple icebergs. If they're all done, sure, I'll cover in the level pack. Liking the aesthetics here, especially the color scheme. Also, thank you for making the platform stand out from the rest of the blue background to indicate where is safe and what isn't. Screw that. Checkpoint density is on point, I'd say. And also smart enough to have backups. As a reminder, TF2 multiplayer tomorrow morning. As promised. See? No damage run. You can name them, there's no issue with that. This is my favorite stage so far. All the levels have been kinda simplistic. Not simplistic, on the simpler side, but it's fine. They're geared more for a audience who is somewhat skilled. Between skilled and not skilled. So already we took out Blaze Man, Cyclone Man, Iceberg Man, and Soldier Man. 4 left to go. Brick, Tsunami, Shining, or Steel. Steel then. 37. Fifth up is Steel Man. 37 plays, score 14. Yeah, at this current rate, I'm just gonna complete the level pack tonight. Let's tidy up. Oops. I accidentally collected the wrong weapon. I wasn't supposed to have the triple blade. Oh well. Back to Mega. Got it. This is what happens when I don't pay enough attention. Another freebie. I already listed my pet peeve at the first stage. Although these tanks don't persist between stages, so they don't break as much. They don't really break the balancing as much. And all these levels do feel distinct, with their own set of tiles, aesthetics, music choices, and more importantly, level objects, aka gimmicks. I mean, I already ranted about that too in a previous episode, so if text editing is the main point, that's not really as good as standing. Some of the stages look quite good, I'd say, in terms of aesthetics, but the main point of Mega Man is the gameplay, really. Smelter, let's see. Okay, who's left? Shining, Tsunami, or Brick? From the cursory glance so far, it's on the upper end. Cathedral is not the worst one. The worst one would probably be that game with the attacking burgers. I'm just gonna go off. Next up is Tsunami Man. 34 plays, score of 12. As I was saying, Cathedral is in the lowest tier. It was that burger game. Yeah, Nom Nom Apocalypse. That by far was the most plain of the games I've LP'd on the channel. Commercial titles, I mean. As for how I vote Smelter, it's on the upper echelons. I'm not sure if I like it more than Cyber Shadow right now, but I'm quite enjoying the experience. It's definitely better than Primal Light. Though, I know it's supposed to be a spiritual successor to something like ActRaiser, but it's not quite as a successor as I thought it would be. Let me explain. The on-foot sections where you're in the stage platforming, they are definitely better than what ActRaiser has to offer. But the sim sections, they're side grades or downgrades. See, one of the fun aspects of ActRaiser was that the sim section was like a prototype or proto-god game, where you had a lot of control over the environment, you could pave stuff, you could send off miracles, fight demons, etc. Whereas in Smelter, sure you fight enemies, build structures, direct people, but you miss out on those miracles and whatnot in terraforming. And the fact it's kind of sillier reduces the gravity of the situation. Also, because the entire Rumbling Lands is basically connected, and how each of the regions outside the gameplay on foot sections basically work almost the same way, it makes each of the areas feel less unique. In ActRaiser, for example, once you went from Fillmore to Bloodpool to Cassandora, etc., each area felt distinct with its own set of challenges and difficulty increases, as well as the environments looking different. That isn't really the case for Smelter. Each of the environments could have been more distinct on the map. For example, Aramagu could have a lot more electric traps, and Nuturos could have a lot more pools of water, or water-type stuff on the map. Stages themselves are distinct enough and fit the teams. But other than that, I'd say it's the second best right now. One of the reasons why I like Cyber Shadow so much is how everything flowed so well together. I know I did play it safe, but because of how everything worked together, I didn't really have much of a problem with it. Plus, it was a joy to speedrun at the end. Okay, we have 2 left. Shining or Brick. In short, it's not quite the successor to ActRaiser I hoped for, yet it's still quite enjoyable. So yeah, second below Cyber Shadow for now, or Cyber Shadow. Wildermid is kind of an odd case because I started LPing it before it actually finished development, or was released. Seventh up is Brickman, 44 plays, score of 18. If I were to sum up my overall experience, it's decent. It's the 4th or 5th favorite game I played on the channel. I don't know. That sounds really random to me. I was referring more to indie titles, but I'll get to that. As for Wildermid, as I was saying, because I started playing it before the game even finished development, there were several issues at the start of the game, especially midway through the LP, which were ironed out over time. Because if I were to sum up the entire experience, it would be decent. They actually fixed a lot of issues I had, especially with how fast things were. Now animations can be played much faster, both in the world and during battles. And there's much more player customization now. And people are actually modding the game better. More music's being added too. It was kind of getting boring hearing the same track over and over. The same battle and story themes. It holds a lot of potential, but it has a long ways to go. It's definitely better than what it was when I started LPing it, but it needs more. It fixed quality of life features, yes, but what it really needs is more variety in terms of procedural generation, and more modders, and some custom campaigns at the same time. That's why I say it's decent. 4th or 5th favorite commercial title. Commercial indie. Oh, about those games. Kirby's Dream Land was... Oh, okay, Forger and Aground. I like Aground more than Forger. Forger isn't bad, but it has a more appealing art style to me, and I like the upgrade system a bit more than how Aground does it. But it doesn't really have a story. It doesn't even have an excuse plot, really. It seems mostly a game you play as a min-maxer, or to unwind. It's like a classic arcade game in a way, but albeit with an upgrade loop. Whereas Aground actually has a story which is not an excuse plot. See, I kind of also like the upgrade system from Aground. I kind of wish it was combined with Forgers, have a hybrid of both systems, and I really like the sense of discovery for Aground. For Forger, yes, it is nice getting new upgrades, unlocking new skills and whatnot, but with Aground, the sense of discovery feels better. I don't know, it feels a bit more satisfying. Although both games kind of suffer from the lack of a bestiary. More so for Aground. Especially as the world is much, much, much bigger there. With Aground, the world only The world isn't really that big, even at max size. It's only 25 islands, or 36 islands. But with a ground, with all the planets, it's pretty big. So I hold the ground over Forger. Not saying that Forger is bad, mind you. There were some issues with the development cycle and dev team, but it's just for a different audience. One who's more interested in productivity and min-maxing and whatnot. Or optimization. See, optimization is also entirely possible in the ground, but it's not as heavily as the focus. Also, they kinda broke the mods for Forger. A ground also has a bunch of mods, which I will eventually try. So yeah, a ground is kind of like my 4th or 5th favorite. It really needs a bestiary and maybe a better quest log, but otherwise, I quite enjoyed it. Shame I had wandered around for 2 or 3 streams for it. Hey Mega Dude, welcome to the stream. So with that, this leaves Shining Man, with 54 plays and a score of 25. Oh, 20XX, Eden and Smelter. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it outright right now. My favorite 2 of those 3 are One Step from Eden and Smelter. 20XX is fun and all, but the fun kind of wears thin over time. My main issue with 20XX is that there's only really 5 main teams. Fire, Ice, Air City, and Lasers. Oh no, wait. Fire, Ice, Air City, and Plant City, or Biolab. That's my main issue, and the randomization can wear thin over time. There should have been more variety. Thankfully, 30XX resolves this issue with 9 teams, and the ability to mod the game, which Eden has too. One step from, put it another way, 20XX to me is decent, whereas Smelter and Eden are almost good to good, especially Eden. Eden was developed, in fact, Eden is also a spiritual successor, this time to the Battle Network series. It may have strayed a bit too far from the classic formula, but to most people, it seems to be a success. I think another way to say it is that, as a fully packaged experience, I think Eden is better. Smelter is fun and all, but there's a noticeable difference in quality between the platforming and the sim sections. Platforming's great, but the sim sections, not so much. Whereas for Eden, the entire loop feels fine. And as you keep pointing out, you have favorite stages, but we don't really have favorite sim sections. That's kind of a flaw of the game. I don't really need those. Eventually I will get back to it, because I didn't actually get the genocide ending. Also, all the mods. That game's finished development, but as it stands right now, it's fine. I just wish there was a bit more control over what you get, as sometimes your runs can be too heavily focused on RNG. Hey Snivy! It's also an issue with stuff like... It can also be an issue with stuff like, let's see... Monster Train and... Grifflands. Several, in fact. And that's my biggest issue with the game. They're really just a formality, when in reality they should be a vital part of the game. I wouldn't call them a liability, but sometimes they feel like filler, really. At least for ActRaiser, the sim sections did not feel like formalities or liabilities. They actually directly translated to your character's growth and progression. After all, that's how you level up in that game, increasing your population. That also exists here, but the relationship is not as direct, or the game itself doesn't make it as direct. After all this time watching other games, especially God games, they should have made that part of the game better. Not sure what this has to do with Shining, no force beams and whatnot. Alright, we're 48 minutes in, and as I have enough time, I'll finish the rest of this pack. I'll be right back in a moment. And I'm back. As it stands right now, this pack is okay. Levels are around the same length as the NES game, and it plays it relatively safe. Difficulty isn't too bad. This would be a nice starter level pack for a player to play. A starter pack. It just exists, doesn't really do anything bad, but nothing too extraordinary. Anyways, off to the Fortess stages. 58 plays, score 21. That's one way of putting it, Snivy. All the levels are actually fairly consistent in terms of quality, maybe with two exceptions, those being Blaze and Iceberg Man. Those in terms of difficulty or quality, they're about roughly F and F. So many choices. Only really two levels are standouts, and even then not by much. My overall quality for this is okay, or eh. If I put it nicely, this is an okay pack. If I was less nice, I'd call this mediocre. Going back to what I was talking about Smelter and such, it feels like the sim sections are really just saved by the platforming sections, or really the main thing that pulls the game together is platforming. Because if the platforming was as good as ActRaiser's, or rather, not as good, then it would be rather forgettable. The platforming is the main thing that's pulling the game up. Yeah, it's down, as you said earlier. I guess to put it another way, Eden is, as an overall package, better and more consistent. Sometimes, I prefer playing games where, even if their quality isn't as good as others, if they have more consistent quality, I prefer them more. Let me rephrase it. Sometimes I prefer playing games which have a more consistent quality to it. Sometimes, I prefer playing games which have a more consistent quality, even if their peaks are lower than some other games' peaks, if they're more inconsistent. That's 1. Now 2. 25 plays, score of 8. It felt like half the Fortess stage, like we were running into the doorway. But it feels kind of strange to say this. In some ways it felt more like an intro stage than the intro stage. This one. That's one of this level pack's main conceits, and what makes it unique, really. It's a cosmetic feature, so to speak. Or quality of life feature. True, they're not bad, it's just that they could be so much better. Especially with today's technology. I mean, see, the new stuff they added in the sim sections in Smelter, they're good. Or, I like them. I just wish they were paired with the stuff that already existed in the original ActRaiser. For example, involve the Zermlings more in terms of Smelter and Eve's growth. Have monster layers that you're forced to use Zermlings for to seal. Have miracles. Have more unique world environments. Yeah, maybe in the sequel they can do that. I guess it's to give players a choice of what songs they want to hear. even if it does or does not fit. Because I know that from playing through some of the previous stages, some of the songs do not fit. At least for me. I guess that's another... Going back to the consistency point, I guess that's another reason why I like Cyber Shadow quite a bit. I know it plays it safe, but it does everything fairly well. And I like the combat loop. Stage 3, 37 plays, score 15. Gosh, we're hammering through the Fortress stages. Far quicker than the regular ARM stages, in fact. Yep, all stages. They're short enough. Before I started this level pack, I thought each of the levels would be about 4 to 5 minutes long, but in reality they're about 2 to 3 minutes, hence why I can squeeze them all into one video. I will have to alter the title though. Super Cable Boy. That's another game with a relatively consistent quality. That's another game with a relatively consistent quality level to it. The main thing that prevents it from being more than decent is the number of levels and the number of gimmicks on display. Compared to something like Meat Boy, there aren't as many mechanics on display or being showcased. I like each of the new stuff added, new abilities, but I guess it's the case of how the developer deliberately limited the scope to be within a budget. Yeah, the cable physics, however, they're actually fairly advanced. I went to the Discord server and there's quite a few quite crazy things you can pull off with that. I didn't talk about how you can actually perform a pseudo double jump and have crazy speed boosts. Everything else is kind of more restrained. Not saying it's a bad thing. The way I see it, they mostly limited the scope to be within budget and time constraints. But it's fine. As I say, don't bite off more than you can chew. Eventually I'm going to have to make a ranking. Oh no. Not here. I wish I was Proto for this, or any character with projectiles. On a note of Smelter, I also kind of wish there was a fort armor, a fire-based armor, because we have 3 out of the 4 elemental quartet usually. Right now we have earth, water, and electricity. It just seems odd not including fire for some reason. Well, I know the reason, it's budget, but it feels missing. The fire armor can be the most offensive one. Right now in terms of offense, earth is the most offensive one. Whoa. GG. No need for weaknesses. And perhaps with the fire armor we could have an entirely new fire region too, traveling into the south. Yeah, maybe in the sequel, more elements. Because right now the main differentiators for armors... Fortess Stage 4, 34 plays, score 12. Right now the main differentiation in terms of armor is range. And playstyle around that. Earth is short-ranged. Shock is medium-ranged. And water is long-ranged. I will pick Tower 4. I like this theme quite a bit. It's actually one of my favorite tracks in that game. As I was saying with armor differentiation, right now the main differentiators are the ranges. They do have a bit of differentiation in terms of playstyle, like how the Earth armor has super armor. Electricity focuses more on finesse. And the water armor focuses more on long-range barragement and phasing in and out of reality. But in terms of offense and defensive skills, they're kind of around the same category. See, in terms of offensive and defensive abilities, comparing the three armors that way, they're roughly the same. Although the Earth armor does have a bit more defensive capabilities, I guess. What with the super armor. Maybe in the sequel we can have more differentiation between offense and defense. But once again, in a sequel, I'm just happy they found a publisher. Rematch time. Huh? Why did you... I'm keeping this. Whoa. This is certainly different from your usual rematch room, at least in terms of aesthetics. So much gray. Time to determine weaknesses. Ice? No, it's bricks. Oh, you went to Twitch too. Severing the wires. It freezes his systems, forcing him to drop like a rock. I beat you before without your weakness. And I always have my backup weaknesses. 2 of them, in fact. Well, they directly translated the weaknesses from the X series, so... For the most part, yeah, definitely. With using weaknesses in 7, 8, and base just cripple the bosses. Especially in 7. In base, not as much, but it's noticeable. I just wish that there was a hard mode which removed the stun lock. I know, keep the stun lock for easy and normal mode, but for hard mode, remove the stun lock. Or only apply the stun lock for charged versions of the weapons. And this is also a complaint for the X series, but it's more noticeable in the classic series, I guess. Yeah, they fixed it, definitely. But still, I wish there was no stun lock like in the preceding games, at least on a difficult setting. If there's a charged weapon you fully charge it, then yeah, keep it. Unfortunately, using special weapons in 7, which are weaknesses, tends to lock bosses into patterns. Okay. You want me to use special weapons? We will then. Let's try this again. Not the easiest. That'd be Spark Man. Does he have a weakness? I thought they did. Apparently they only half did it. So last but not least, Stage 5. 36 plays, score 5. Let's put a stop to Dr. Shedrel's plans. Let's do this as Mega. Wait, the game can crash after the boss? Does it have anything to do with fuse lasers? Well, Dr. Shedrel, but... or Shedrel. Oh yeah, I remember that, Jedok. Most of us were there. As a reminder, next week evening, there won't be a Mega Man Maker stream. It'll be something else. It's Blast Man yet again. Okay, special weapons then. You can play that game. Yeah, it's fuse lasers. I knew it. That's what happened the last time. Middle is not really the problem, it's getting to him. And I'm doing it really the fast way. Okay. What? Is that it? This only felt like the first phase of a 2 or 3 phase fight. Just making it like this is too easy, really. That was anticlimactic. And yes, even if I didn't use special weapon, well, I had to use special weapons. Even if I didn't use the triple blade, or the treble boost, or whatever, or the multi-hit ability, this still wouldn't be that difficult. That was disappointing. Anyways, I'm off to the special stage, 31 and 11. After playing so many level packs where pretty much every level pack where the final boss has more than one phase in some way or another, doing this now feels kind of disappointing. Come on, roll, let's do this. Yeah, thankfully you went on vacation. Or to bed. Not the easiest final boss in level pack, because I was still forced to use an E-tank and there was a lot of stuff going on. And to be honest, compared with the ARM stages, most, if not all, the Fortess stages were rather forgettable. They didn't really reutilize most of the mechanics from those stages. At least with those, you could feel distinctness, and they could stand on their own 2 feet. Fortresses, on the other hand, you can mix and match them and you wouldn't really forget anything. That's one of the biggest disappointments of this pack. I know I had many critiques about Jedok's level pack, but at least the fortresses felt like fortresses. Even this stage feels like a better stage than most of the Fortess stages. Yep, that'd be right, Deadwoman. Those were some of the lower effort level packs I played. You don't need to make them Kaizo hard though, just add a second phase at the very least. Or you can just put a checkpoint after the first phase. The way it stands right now, you could just place level 5 right after level 4, make it one stage, and there wouldn't be any difference. But yeah, that was one of the most difficult parts of this pack. This is the trick that Lumen showed off. Slash dash cancel. Or slash roll cancel. Sadly, I can't perform it on bosses. And that's it. That's the end of the level pack. So here are my overall thoughts on Mega Man Shedrel's Rising. It's an okay or mediocre level pack. It doesn't really do anything bad, but it doesn't really do anything good either. All the levels in the RM section were fine, I guess. They felt distinct from each other, had their own set of teams, music tracks, and more importantly, level objects and enemies. But once we entered the Fortess stages, the levels felt more interchangeable. In fact, for the most part, this didn't really have that much of a difficulty progression outside of bosses. The fortresses felt about the same or slightly more difficult than the RM stages preceding them. So, this pack overall is rather forgettable. It does have a very consistent quality to it. Each stage, maybe with the exception of Cyclone and Blaze Man, they're about the same in terms of difficulty, so any RM is a good starting point. I would recommend this to players who are just getting their feet wet into Mega Man Maker, those who are beginners, semi-skilled, or average skilled. If not, and you played a few other level packs in the past, just skip over this one. Its main claim to fame is having a music selector at the start, but the rest of the pack doesn't really hold up as much. Nonetheless, thank you for submitting this level pack to me, Shedrel. I will play more of these in the future. And as always, I always prefer having NSF file replacements. Alrighty then, thanks for watching everyone. I hope to see you all tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.